Probably the biggest single influence on my creative process was something my old English teacher said to me when I was about 13 or 14. He just said, write about what you know. I usually wrote about things that I saw on telly. You know, when we ever had to write a story, it was about a maverick cop or, you know, a cowboy. I always thought my stories were the best, they were more exciting, and whenever I wrote a story and handed it in, I always got it back too melodramatic, write about what you know. And this was frustrating because I was thinking, it's either good or it isn't, you know, and I thought my stories were so... Who wouldn't like a story called Jezuk about a maverick cop who didn't play by the rules? What? Are you mad? This could be on telly. In fact, I'm sure it was. And all the other kids were getting B's and A's writing about what they did. And then one day, I just got fed up, so I thought I'd teach him a lesson. And I tried to do the most boring story in the world. My mum used to go around a neighbour's house. She was an elderly lady in her 80s. And my mum would go around, you know, every day and clean up, do a bit of shopping and cook her a meal. And sometimes I'd go around there and sort of watch, because I was bored. And it's not an exciting thing for a 13-year-old boy to watch his mum clean up after an old lady. That isn't my idea of fun. So I thought, I'll write a story about that. That is so boring. And I wrote in every detail. I thought I was being really clever, going, we went round, we came in, there was a smell of tea and lavender and mould, and my mum first started to clean the floor. The old lady said, have you eaten? The old lady said, I haven't eaten today, no. And I did it all when I thought I was being so funny and getting my own back on this teacher. And I handed it in, and I thought that'll show him. And you know, the next day, he'd marked them all and he was looking at them, handing them out, and he looked at mine, and he just threw it at me like that. And I opened it up, A. And I looked at him and he just went like that. And it was the proudest moment of my life. It sort of taught me that being honest is what counts. Trying to make the ordinary extraordinary is so much better than starting with the extraordinary, because it doesn't really connect. You watch those sort of shows and it washes over you, don't think about it the next day. Whereas if something is real for one person, it's touched their life. You know, and I think as a creator and a director, it's your job to make an audience as excited and fascinated about a subject as you are. And real life does that.
No one ever tells students why they should write something. It's like, well, you have to do this assignment. Well, why are you writing? Well, you need the grade. It's like, no, you need to learn to think. Because thinking makes you act effectively in the world. Thinking makes you win the battles you undertake. And those could be battles for good things. If you can think and speak and write, you are absolutely deadly. Nothing can get in your way. So that's why you learn to write. It's like, and I can't believe that people aren't just told that. It's like, it's the most powerful weapon you can possibly provide someone with. And I mean, I know lots of people who've been staggeringly successful and watched them throughout my life. I mean, those people, you don't want to have an argument with them. They'll just slash you into pieces. And not in a malevolent way. It's like, if you're going to make your point and they're going to make their point, you better have your points organized, because otherwise you are going to look like and be an absolute idiot. You are not going to get anywhere. And if you can formulate your arguments coherently and make a presentation, if you can speak to people, if you can lay out a proposal, God, people give you money, they give you opportunities, you have influence, because that's the most dangerous thing you can possibly be. So, and that's motivating if people know that. It's like, well, why are you learning to write? Because here's your sword, here's your M16, right? Here's your bulletproof vest. Like, you learn how to use them.
So I do this through my writing. I share my stories through my writing, but I think there's a massive value in all forms of creative expression. I think creativity can be transformative. I think it can allow us to access feelings that we often deny ourselves. I think there are some things that are so massive, they can only really be expressed through something creative. And that's why I think everybody should incorporate some level of creativity into their lives. When people don't have an outlet for their feelings, it can have a really negative impact on them. But making your emotions tangible through expressing them creatively can empower people to confront and contain otherwise abstract or daunting feelings. I want to promote this ideology because I believe it's a really important way that we as a society can help people suffering. I don't think there's enough value placed on how creative self-expression can heal. Some people don't believe they have access to a creative outlet. Some people don't think that creativity is for them, but I think there are ways that we can all include it in our everyday lives. So try writing down how you feel, try drawing it, try going on a long walk and walk it out of you and walk for hours, or cook something delicious. Be creative in whatever way feels right to you. Creativity doesn't have to be an inaccessible practice reserved for a privileged few. I think it's about allowing yourself the time to feel it and to think it and to speak it and to get it out.
You shouldn't write to become a billionaire, and you shouldn't write to get onto the bestseller lists, because odds are, it won't happen. You wrote your book because it was your own idea, so in some ways, you write your book for yourself. You should never write solely to impress other people, because the fact of the matter is, you can't impress everyone. Which is why your writing should matter to you above all others. Your book should excite you. It should make you a creator and a thinker. And even if nobody else ever sees your work, and even if it remains unfinished, it should pay off for your character and your interests.
It has recorded the discoveries of scientists and inventors. It has charted the course for nearly every explorer who has braved the open ocean or explored the vast terrain. Wars have begun and ended at its wave. And the doctrine of nearly every one of the world's religion was inscribed at its tip. It has recorded the genius of composers and artists alike. And more lovers have succumbed at its tip than any of Cupid's arrows. You see, more than a pen, this is a vital part of our humanity. It is the facilitator to genius, the strongest weapon in wartime, the baton passed from one generation to the next, the needle on the Richter scale of our hearts, and the connection between God and man.